Main screen turn on, we get signal. Welcome in everyone, it is time for 2011 and Spacechem. So, you might be wondering, it's like, what is Spacechem? What are we doing here? What is all of this? And the answer is, it's kind of a puzzle sort of game. It appears that the last time I played it was 2019, so we will be starting over because I have forgotten how to do everything. So welcome in everyone. As always, we will start the stream with a series of quality checks to make sure that things are working correctly. We did check the sound alerts worked correctly earlier. Now we need to check to make sure that I don't miss any messages from you, that being making sure that the chat overlay is working correctly. So we send a test message, and we see it bounced back to us. Excellent, very good. We shall not miss any messages from anyone. We got that, and then of course we need to test that alerts are working. Now, someone did see fit to help us out with this midday. I'd forgotten to turn off some of the streaming software, specifically regarding to alerts, and I received a random follow alert in the middle of the day while I was working on, work stuff. It's just like, wait, why is that sound alert playing? Like, where did that come from? What's going on? That's not right. Wait. Testing something else real quick. Oh wow, that's really awful. Alright, that's fine. That's fine. This should have the same thing though. Oh, okay. It was just being picky. Alright, good. It's working. Excellent. And that should be the end of our quality checks. Make sure that stream is performing properly for everyone. Now, you may have noticed that Liesel has decided that she does not want to appear on the normal camera. She is much closer to the camera than usual. This is just due to the fact that there have been some storms, so she, instead of being back on her bed, she's like right here next to me. So the camera's a little bit more zoomed in on her than usual. But that's fine. If it makes her feel safer, we're good with that. We will switch profile to a new profile. Trying 2026. External video? No, okay. So, what is Spacechem? Well, this is Spacechem. So we have new story and new training. Story. People die in space. That was the first sentence in the latest letter from my mother. She had never set foot on a ship, let alone off the colony of Sangfroid. When I told her that I wanted to explore the stars, she cried. We were sitting in the local diner, stacks of pancakes swimming in syrup and butter on our plates, with every face watching my mother's tears roll down her cheeks as I continued eating. I was 10. She attached a news article about a recent incident involving a Spacechem station in a secluded region of the galaxy. Half of the crew had been ejected through the airlock due to a strange malfunction. The survivors were not available for comment. Needless to say, my career choice was wholly opposed. The stakes are just too high. Look at these reports, she said in the message. I could hear her voice rising with each word. I deleted it and turned off the tablet. The shuttle was en route to the training facility on Dune II, billions of kilometers away from Sangfroid. In a few hours, I would be setting foot on another planet for the first time. I gazed out the window and watched the stars shimmer in the distance. You've never been up here before? The pilot called back to me. Nope, first time. Then you've never been through one of these jumps either. Sit tight. My hand gripped the armrest as we hit the jump to Dune II. I thought I could hear my mother crying, but it was just the pilot laughing. So, new training. Reactors and reactions. Alright, so reactors are programmed with reactions to transform one set of chemical substances into another. Yes, it is a science-heavy game, in theory. It's really, you don't need to know anything about the actual chemical elements involved. Reactors may move atoms, rotate molecules, and modify bonds. In research assignments, a reactor is programmed to perform a single reaction. These are Waldos. They grab, move, rotate, and drop atoms. Atoms bonded together into molecules move together. Waldos move constantly and can be redirected with arrow instructions. Waldos execute arrow and reactor instructions of the matching color when passing over them. Excellent. This is an instruction, which executes when the matching Waldo passes over it. The instruction accepts a molecule into the reactor, placing a matching instruction in the place a matching instruction in the highlighted square. Alright. Okay. This instruction causes the Waldo to attach and release atoms. This will pick up the newly accepted molecule. This redirects it to a new direction. This rotates, which is G. And out. Start the reactor, click on any of the 4 play buttons shown below. Hooray! It is possible to do it faster, which is the easy way. Continue. Okay, new story. Nope, no new story. Old story. Atoms are the building blocks of all matter. Atoms of the same element have the same properties. Oxygen, carbon, and iron are examples of elements. Molecules consist of one or more atoms joined by bonds. The molecule is manipulated by a Waldo as a single unit. Water, methane, and salt are examples of molecules. And then it shows us that the shape does not matter as long as they're all attached in the same order. It matters. So this is HCCH. So it doesn't matter if it's in a little C shape, if it's offset, if it's in a line, it's all HCCH. These are different. This one, because it has a different number of things in it, this is HCCH, but you can see that each C is connected to one C and one H, whereas opposed to this one, there's a middle one that both of the H's are attached to, so it's different from the others. To solve this puzzle, we will use the blue Waldo, which behaves identically to the red Waldo, but executes only the blue instructions. Go figure. To create a blue input, drop a red input and right-click on it. Okay. Oh, wait. There we go. Switch to drop blue instructions instead of red by pressing tab. There we go. Tab is much easier. Nope. Grab, drop. Oh, that's as much as it gives me. I need to figure out the rest myself. Okay, so we're gonna get 2 H's. And we need to output them bound together. Or no. It comes in bound together and it goes out bound together. Okay. So, grab, drop, and then out. Okay. Hooray! We're just blazing through this tutorial. It's a crazy fast tutorial. Alright, so we have platinum needs to go up here, and gold needs to go down here. And gold starts up here, and platinum starts down here. So, what are we doing here? So this... Alright, so we need to grab and go down. And we need to drop it, and then out W. And then for this one, we need to grab here. Now, there are faster ways to do this. this is the lazy way. So make sure they never cross over. The other way to do this would be, of course, we just configure it so that the timing works out that they don't run into each other. But don't really want to deal with that. Oh, stop. I forgot something very important. We need the inns to actually spawn them in. Ah, right. There we go. Platinum goes up here. Gold goes down here. Oh, stop. Already messing up. There we go. And we can see it's 1 out of 10, 2 out of 10. But now that we know it works right, we can just click the button and make it go. Alright, bonding and synchronization. Bonders add and remove bonds from atoms. Click and drag bonders to move them. The sync instruction in action. The blue Waldo will wait at the sync instruction until the red Waldo reaches its sync instruction. Adjacent bonders add or remove bonds from pairs of atoms above them. All bonders in a reactor fire together. This instruction specifies where a Waldo starts and can be moved like any other instruction, but cannot be created or deleted. Move the red start instruction into the highlighted square. Alright, we need an input. Alright, the grab/drop instruction can be made to only grab or drop by right-clicking on it. Just grab. Instructions only affect the Waldo that matches their color. Yes, we covered that. How much is it going to tell us about how to solve this one? Sync, drop only, then bond plus. I didn't remember it being this hand-holdy. But maybe that's good. As I did say, we are a bit out of practice. Is this the full solution? Yeah, let's find out. Yep, looks like it is. Cool. So you can see that the sync works out. And you'll see that one of them drops it, and the other one doesn't have to drop and then bond. It just bonds as it walks by, so it kind of just picks it up and goes on its way. Ooh, new story. The training facility on Cernamere II was a campus of rectangular metal buildings connected with corrugated tunnels with a landing zone located west of the reactor field. There was only a trace atmosphere on the surface, leaving the horizon empty except for the central star and the sister planet, Cernamere IV. I sat in a folding chair behind a table in a brightly lit room with 15 other trainees. A middle-aged woman stood at the front of the room, smiling. She wore a gray jumpsuit with a name tag that read, Angela. Welcome to your first day of training, she said. We're going to get started with some of the basics about Spacechem, its founding and mission. We'll get through some of the drier material later in this session. As she clapped her hand, the lights dimmed and a Spacechem logo appeared on the wall. Spacechem was founded in 2745 by George Vossler. An image of a portly, mustachioed man appeared for a moment before Angela flipped to the next screen, which contained the likeness of a salmon. Originally, Spacechem was a subsidiary of Vossler Industries, specializing in the manufacture of fish-based food products. Later on, Vossler Industries folded, and Spacechem expanded into chemical engineering. The fish disappeared and was replaced by a star field. Ever since, Spacechem has revolutionized the industry with its reactor technology. We currently employ over 200,000 individuals in various capacities on over 3,000 planets and stations. Spacechem is the largest chemical engineering and manufacturing company in the universe. Another Spacechem logo materialized. Spacechem's goal is to provide high-quality chemical necessities to human colonies on a universal scale in an economical and effortless manner. Angela clapped to turn on the lights. Any questions so far? So, here we are. We're an advanced chemical engineering firm in the universe, and we're using a clapper for the lights. Alright, bond progression. You can have multiple bonds. Hydrogen cannot have multiple bonds, because it only has one number here. This can have 2. This can have... That says 5. Yes. Alright, so what do we want? We need to take one H and one Cl and make HCl. Alright, so, first things first. No, stop that. I don't know what the undo button is. Alright, so, we need to come here, we need to grab. From here, we need to go out down there. So this is basically the same as before. So we want to... We will drop here. We will sink here. And I think that's all we care about for red. And then for blue, blue's going to have to do a little bit more work. Blue's going to grab. Then we're going to go here. And we'll sink here. And then here we will bond plus. We will then go down and left. And because we're going to be grabbing the bottom one, we can't just drop it here. We need to drop it here. So it'll be in these 2 squares. And then we output. And I think that'll do it. No, we need our ins. We need to actually spawn our stuff. Drop out. Cool. And now that we have the solution, this is funny because the last one was essentially this exact same thing, but it was telling us, you know, exactly how to do it in the tutorial. And now it's like, alright, we showed you how to do it last time, now you do it. And so we did. Removing bonds. This time we don't get any tutorial, it seems. It's just like, figure it out. Alright, so we get double Fs. And then we need to split it out. So, what do we need? We need to spawn it in. We need to pick it up. We need to go down. We come here. We break the bond. We go up and we go around. We drop and we output. Meanwhile, this guy is going to come in. He's going to grab here. He's going to drop here. And he's also going to output. The trick here is keeping them in sync. This might just be alright. Like, they have the same path length, so they might just be in sync without sync nodes. Ah, no, no, no. They are not. There we go. You shall start with them at the correct offset. Ah, I see. One further back, please. Yes, I know, it's very scary out. Alright. There we go. No need for sync nodes if we just put the offsets correctly. What you can see is why we are here on the left-hand side of... Okay, she has decided to retreat to her crate. If she decides to rejoin us on her bed, then that is her choice. But if she feels safer in the crate, then she gets to stay in the crate. But yes, you can see that we've used fewer symbols than others because we didn't do syncs. This big spike here is probably just having the 2 syncs in there. And you can see that there are ways to do it with fewer symbols. And that's probably by being tricky with having only one loop going and making it come back and grab the second one. Yell super loud? No. That would be inappropriate. But also welcome in. Double bonds. Alright, we're not getting any more tutorials, it seems. Alright, so... You live in a home or apartment? No, just a home. So I don't have to worry about neighbors, but if she's already being terrorized by the thunder, then it's not generally a good idea to also start making other noises. Alright, so might have to do something a little tricky here. Is that... So we need to spawn it in, we need to pick it up, then... we're actually going to spawn in another one for this one to pick up. And it will also pick one up here, but I think that we're going to run into a problem on this corner that they run into each other. Yeah. That's what I thought. Alright, we'll cheat a little bit on this. Well, I guess it's not cheating. We'll go for a different solution is what I think we're going to say it is instead. Which is going to make things take longer, but it's fine. Alright, so we want to bond things twice. And then blue will drop it, and red will carry it through the rest of the way. So when red gets here, red can drop it, and red can output it. That might work. Okay, we good? Excellent. But yes, it is quite interesting. We'll see if I can keep up with it. So we're probably going to be slower than average. No, we are faster than average, it seems. And fewer symbols used. But yes, it is an interesting sort of puzzle-ish game. And it can get tricky pretty fast. We're still in the very beginning pieces. I have started over because last time I played it was quite some time ago and I've forgotten everything. Alright, so a hand in the rear of the room flew up. There's been a lot of concerns about safety lately. Do you know anything about There was an unfortunate accident, she said. Someone coughed and she narrowed her eyes. We have a stellar safety compliance record. We have the best people and resources. Unfortunately, sometimes incidents occur, but these are rare events. There were only a few other companies the size of Spacechem, including their corporate rivals, SFCM, Société Française d'Examen et d'Exploitation Minerais, and Organizol, a smaller firm specializing in organic compounds and renowned for their general incompetence. Spacechem was enjoying a golden age of incredible growth and success, despite the news reports. Angela pulled a stack of papers from a folder. Anything else before we move on? What really happened during the accident? Another person asked, again from the back. She shuffled the papers in her hands and tapped them against the table in front of her. How does half a station's crew get flushed out of the airlock? Even if it was a malfunction, why were they all in there in the first place? The papers slid from her fingers and she stared through me with dull, lifeless eyes. I cleared my throat and she glanced away, her lips strained into a smile. I need a moment. I'm just going to... I'll be right back. She disappeared behind the door. She did not return. Right, this is the same training we had before. Alright, so this time, same as before, except this time we need a triple bond instead of a single bond. So we're going to pull the same thing, but longer. Actually, we can probably cheat and have it not have to take as long. Yeah, I think we'll do that. So what we're going to do is we're just going to keep these on the same loop to keep them in sync. So as before, we want red to spawn it in, grab it, spawn in a second one for the one behind it to grab. And then for blue, we want to grab the second one that got spawned in. And now they're going to be advancing in series. So we need 3 bonds. 1, 2, 3. No. We don't want that one. Because here we need blue to let go so it doesn't break. So 3 bonds, 1, 2, 3. Blue drops it. Red will continue carrying it, which means red needs to drop it here, and red will do the output. And something victory? Victory! Multiple outputs. Alright, so now we are splitting the atom. We have carbon monoxide, which is a double bonded CO. We need to put all the carbons up top and the oxide down below. Alright, so we're gonna do mirrored things. And I might need to change the starting location in order to figure this out, but it'll be fine. So, what we want is, because red has to be the one to pick it up, and we want carbon to go out top, we want red to grab the carbon. So the carbon's going to be in this square, so we grab that. So we spawn it in, we grab it. Let me just make sure that's rotating the direction I want. It is not. There we go. Right, this needs to start one further back. So the idea here is we're gonna remove the bond, grab, drop, out, drop, out. I might need a sink. Because the problem is this is going to get delayed 1 every cycle. So I think these are eventually going to run into each other because they are getting progressively out of sync. but we might get to our 10 outputs before that happens. Note that this will not fly later in the game. Later in the game, things are going to go more than 10 loops, and if they get out of sync, they will crash and burn. At least that's what I think happens. An introduction to pipelines. Okay. The next assignment is a production assignment. You must produce and deliver molecules to cargo freighters. In production assignments, you may use multiple reactors. Pipes carry molecules between input reactors and cargo freighters. Drag the last segment of pipe to connect buildings. Raw materials must be routed to reactors from storage tanks or harvesting facilities. Reactors have inputs on the left, outputs on the right. Double-click to edit. Okay. I saw the big nasty molecules and I was like, you want me to do what? And then it's like, wait. That's just like, can you point pipes the right place? And we can. We can, in fact, point pipes the right place. Okay. More story. Angela returned the next day, chipper and without a trace of distress. If anyone wanted to ask about the strange accidents, she only smiled and ignored the question. Training continued, and he moved on to more technical topics and field work. I always saw Angela sitting at the same table in the canteen. She would wave to me, and I would nod before finding another seat among the other trainees. As the days went by, I grew tired of the Spacechem food and novelty of the environment. I loaded a fried fish sandwich onto my tray, but did not feel hungry. Angela watched me from her metal table in the center of the cafeteria. "Hey," I said. "Want to take a seat?" she asked. "Sure." I slid out a chair and sat down. Angela unwrapped one of the 4 fish cake sandwiches on her tray, gripping the paper wrapper with both hands. "How do you like it?" "Training's okay. I really want to get to work, though." "I meant these." She waved her fish cake in front of her face. "Spacechem's specialty product. It's packed with protein." The fried coating crunched and flaked onto the table as she bit it. I watched in awe as she devoured the food product, my appetite firmly suppressed. We sat in silence as she opened her second wrapper, the paper crinkling. "So, Angela," I paused, "how long have you been on Ceramir 2? She wiped her mouth on her sleeve. 8 months. I was halfway through a rotation when I left to come here. "You prefer being settled in one place?" "No, I had to take this job. There were some difficulties during my last assignment." "Well, you're a great trainer." She only gave me a pained smile. "Where was your last assignment?" "I don't like to talk about it." The conversation died, and she turned her attention to her food, staring off past me while chewing. I didn't touch my fish cakes, instead choosing to toss them into the trash after I left the table. So, yeah. Pretty sure she was at the place that had the incident where half of the crew got sucked out of an airlock. I guess I need to take a quick bathroom break, so we're going to throw to commercials a little early. This should be, if I'm remembering right, should be about a 3-minute break. So feel free to also join me. Take a break yourselves, stand up, grab a drink, grab a snack, use the bathroom, and we'll be back for more Spacechem in a moment. Huh. It looked like it ran a very short ad, which is unfortunate. But we're back. I hope everyone had a good break, and we're going to try to continue with this. Now, what are the quotas and output notes? Add output notes to reactors to remind yourself what intermediate molecules you need to produce. Create output notes by right-clicking on reactors and selecting Add Note. Output notes show up inside reactors just like research assignments. Okay. Excellent. Reactor quota shows the maximum number of reactors you may use. The production assignment will not run if the quota is exceeded. Alright, so we have one reactor. Okay. I don't know if I want the top or the bottom to be connected. But... Ha! And it gets kicked off the screen. Oh, hey! There we go. Take that, bots. Alright, so... Now, I guess I should... Alright, so we want HCl. HCl. Right, so this is just the same sort of thing we've already done before. Where we grab, we in, and then when they come here, we single bond, and red drops, blue drops, blue outputs. Is that all we need? Oh, right. I forgot. They're going to be out of sync. So this is something that we have to keep in mind. Because these pipes are different lengths, stuff doesn't arrive at the same time. So obviously the answer to this is actually making them sync. Okay, so this is way too long. Stop that. Stop that. Back we go. Back it up, 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 back it up. There we go. This is the cheating way to do it if we want to be lazy and not actually put the sync things in here that we should. Alright. Okay. Can we hide the, How do I hide the note? It is hiding things that I need to see. Ah, I can drag it. Okay, cool. Like, it is in the way. So they're both waiting for inputs, then we stick an output. Alright, we should be good to go. Excellent. And you can see we used fewer symbols. Why did we use fewer symbols? Because we did not use sync nodes. We cheated by using pipes instead. Okay, we have two reactors. And we need to make formaldehyde. This is 2 H's, a C, and an O. So we only have 2 reactors. So what I'm thinking is 1 reactor does the C and O part, and then the other sticks 2 H's on it. So this one's going to be significantly more work. Alright, so this one is going to be easy. We just need to take the O and the C, and we need to add note to upper output that it is O and C and double bonded. Alright, so as before, we've done this sort of thing a couple times already. So we know how to make a double bond thing. This is what the game is very good at. Is that, you know what, we'll use sinks here as well, just in case. So we in, we sink, we in, we sink, we pick up, we pick up. Wait, no. There we go. Because we want these synced up to grab at the same time. They grab at the same time. Wait a second. This won't work. We'll put the sinks here instead. So they both sync up here, then they move forward. We want the red to hold on. So red will bond, blue will drop. And because they're going to be holding the O, we drop here, we output here. Okay. We might need another sink later, but we'll get to that later. Because the trick is that this is going to fill this pipe, and what happens when this pipe fills up? I think this will get stuck here, and then this will get stuck on the sink. Alright, I'm fine with that. Cool. Which means we need to go here. So here we have something new. In that we need this one to do 2 loops every time this one does 1 loop. Which is tricky. Hello. Hello, Foxhole. You have this game. Have you played it? Have you beaten it? All is going pretty well here. But it's, we've gotten to the stage that they are starting to be a little trickier. Wait, no. Alright, so... You've never beaten it? Nor have I. Alright, so we're going to do a 2-loop thing. In. Drop. Drop. Good puzzle game. I think it did passively teach chemistry accurately. The guy who introduced you had a box fan taped to his computer because it kept overheating. That is some commitment. I'm not sure it's the most effective way to do it, but it is at least effort. Same team made a newer game that's just absurd. It's all hexagons. Oh, you're referring to Super Hexagon? I don't believe that's Zachtronic Games, which are the people who made this, but something that the team that made this did make is a little game known as... what is the right word for it? It's Infiniminer? And the funny thing about that one is you probably don't know... You've never heard of Infiniminer, because it's kind of weird. But the trick about it is that you probably do know about a clone someone made. So a while back there was this dude, he went by the name Notch, and he made an Infiniminer clone. And that is what's now known today as Minecraft. So there's that. That was inspired by a game by the same people who made this. Alright, so we want to grab the oxygen, actually. So we're going to grab the oxygen. We want to go this way. We want to double rotate. No. Double rotate. So now the C is sticking up. And we want to sink here and wait. Drop over, down, left. Alright, and you are going to bond. And then sink. Oh, we need an in here. Ooh, no. This won't work. Can't find the game that is the successor to this, Spiritual, but if I do, I'll share it in months from now. Oh, good to know. Okay, so this setup with the sink works assuming that blue gets here first. But blue's not going to get here first. Red's going to get here first. So what's going to happen is this is going to put the two hydrogens in place. It's going to pause on this sink. And then this is going to come up. It's going to shove our dual thing in here. The sinks will trigger and it'll just move forward. So if we assume hydrogen is always first, then we put this sink here, we put bond plus here, and this bond plus goes away. Right, so we know the bottom one works. So now we have two H's. This is waiting at the sink. Oop, bond goes in. Well, I missed an output, but that's fine. Yep. Yeah, that's what I thought. So we need an output here, among other things. But we also need to Put a second sink here. Second sink here. Okay. This sink needs to be... There we go. Okay, I think this is good. I think we have everything synced up how we need it. Alright, success. We did take much longer than most people did. Yeah, like, our performance on this was not very good. Oh, I missed the story thing. I woke up to the rustle of an envelope sliding under the door. I pulled on a pair of socks before setting foot on the cold floor. Someone gasped outside as the envelope retracted. I pressed the access panel and the door glided open. Angela sprung up, clutching the yellow envelope in her hand, eyes wide. Her blue sleep suit dragged on the floor as she stood barefoot, her hair wrapped in a scarf. Good morning. She slipped the packet into a black folder. What are you doing? Just taking a midnight stroll. Can't sleep sometimes. I'm sorry I woke you. You should get back to bed. As she spun around, I grabbed her shoulder. Wait, what's in the envelope? It's nothing really. You'll see it later. She fixed her eyes on the ground and tugged the folder closer. Stepping out of the room, I joined her in the hall. Why bring it now? I asked. It's your assignment. She plucked the paper from the folder and thrust it into my hands. Well, you'll be working with one of my old managers, Joel. He's great. On the sheet was the name of a planet, Danop. A staff hierarchy, and an employee ID number. None of this information meant anything to me. It's not that bad. She gazed at me expectantly, but I only folded the paper and slid it into my pocket. Thanks. With a gush of breath, her smile returned. I've got some other deliveries to make. Good luck, buddy. She winked and continued down the hallway in a flurry of blue fabric, her bare feet patting against the metal floor. Well, we found it. Opus Magnum. Why is... Is there some adaptive ads going on? It just started an ad, but it's only a 1.5 minute one. That's a more modern game. Apparently it's easier than Spacechem. I see. Interesting. I do know that... We'll wait for like 50 seconds for this. Because some people are getting ads, and I can't see who's getting them and who isn't. But... I think they're doing some adaptive thing, because I had that earlier break that was 1.5 minutes. I think it adapted and be like, oh, you only need 1.5 minutes now, not the standard 3-minute break. But yes, the plot it thickens. And here I thought Angela might be a love interest and not just a plot device. So unfortunate. For us. Well, not for us. For her. Really, it's her loss. But yes, so we'll talk about it in a minute. Alright, so yes, welcome back from ads for those of you who are in ad jail. So, Opus Magnum, as opposed to Magnum Opus, it's easier than Spacechem. So I know that when I played Spacechem before, especially like the first times I played it, I ran into situations where it would present me the next puzzle, and I would look at it, and what it's asking me to do, and I would be like, that is crazy. Like, how would you ask me to do that? That is just nuts. I'm closing the game and walking away. And then, while I wasn't playing the game, I would end up thinking about it and being like, well, actually, I think I could do it. Like, I think I could do this and get it done. And then I would come back to the game. So, we'll see if we can't keep going a little easier. Every day is the first day. Alright. A deep voice bellowed from behind the prefabricated door.
Again? Are you kidding me?
I'm just reporting the malfunction, sir, the woman said. I hesitated and stepped back from the door, deciding to come back later. To my surprise, it opened on its own, revealing a tall man, presumably Joel, and a woman in a red jumpsuit. Joel stood behind a metal desk, frowning and crossing his arms. You remember making fuel for a rocket? Yeah, I think I got that far as well. I don't remember how crazy it was. I think the one that got me was CH4, but I don't remember the name for that. I remember it just being like crazy because like, alright, I have one C and I have 4 H's and I need to somehow get the 4 H's attached to the C without them all running into each other.
Get a team together to fix the pipeline rupture.
Of course, sir, she straightened her back. As she left the office, she gave me a curt nod and slipped through the doorway. Joel rubbed a hand against his face.
Come in. Sorry about that. We've been having a lot of mechanical problems lately. That was Marianne, by the way.
There was nowhere to sit in the office, so I stood in front of his desk.
You're fresh out of training. You were on Cernamere, right? Who was your trainer?
He looked her up and down. Angela. She mentioned she worked with you.
Yeah, she was an engineer at my last assignment. It's really too bad what happened to her.
His voice sounded almost wistful. Joel looked intently at his hands for a moment and then back to me.
Well, we haven't had anyone new for a while. Let me give you the rundown.
He rolled out from behind the desk, sending his chair into the wall, and gestured into the window.
You're on Danoth, a rocky planet in the Vesuvius system. There are tons of liquid methane deposits. So, naturally, we do a lot of hydrocarbon production here. Not very exciting, I know. I'm just here until they fill the position and get a proper replacement for the last supervisor.
Outside, the ground was a dirt color, with shimmering methane pools close to the foundation of the Spacechem facility.
Joel continued, You're scheduled to work in the labs at first, then you'll be working on pipelines.
He settled into the seat once more.
Welcome, good luck, and stay sharp.
Alright, this is... See, this is what I was talking about. I feel like the jumps in difficulty are pretty significant. Because, what do we have? We have one, like, if we had multiple reactors to do this, and we could, like, make CHs in one of them, and then have the next one combine the CHs, this would be easy. But having only the 2 Waldos to do it makes it, tricky, we'll say. So I'm trying to figure out how we want to do this. Like, it's possible that we can just drop them all on here, hit the plus bond button 4 times, and then move on. But that brings its own set of problems. But we'll try that approach first. Oh, ooh, yeah, we don't want that. So that's just a drop. And then probably a sink to wait. And then this one. Of course, we grab this. Something like that, maybe? So we drop this. Then we come here. We bond plus, bond plus. I might need to go do this the other direction. I don't think we're going to have enough bonds this way. Unless we sync here. And then put a bond plus there as well. Let's see, what else do we need? Alright, we need ins. This is definitely not going to work, but we'll test it anyway, just to see where it breaks. Oh, oops. We did that one first. That messes up my whole plan. Maybe like that. Okay, so they both drop stuff. They come around for another pass. This is waiting. Drops, sinks, bond, bond, bond. Alright, it worked. The question is, will it work? Will they get out of sync enough? Oh, I think we might have done it. Easy. Very clean. Very simple, right? It's very easy to read and understand what all is going on here. We are fairly average. Normal cycles, normal symbols used. Right, this is where it gets harder. We need 3 H's for 1 N. So... Okay, so my first thought here is I'm going to try to put it here so that I don't need a third thing. The third time I come here, I don't need to carry anything. I just spawn it in right there. So I grab it, I drop it. We come around for another pass. We drop it. We do like this number. Well, okay, let's just make sure we have this clear. Drop only, grab only, drop only. Those are both ins. Alright, so we're going to come over here. We're going to drop one here. We're going to come around. We're going to grab this. We're going to drop it here. Then we're going to come here, and we're going to sync. We're going to wait. But this is also going to be our signal to blue that we're ready. We have two of them in position. So we're going to start with a sync here. We're going to put an in here. So this won't go forward until we have two of them in position. Which means we'll spawn in the nitrogen. We'll grab it. We will use you to spawn in the third hydrogen. Then we bond. We drop. We output. Something, something, victory. In, grab, drop. Okay, we might need a second sync. To back this up. We move this over. Right, so this is... We don't want to start this next one until this one is done and out of the way, so... We put no. Once this is clear, then this can start another round. I think the other part of this game that really worked well for you is the dark UI, no flashbangs. Yeah. Yeah, this is very very engineering coded UI. Alright, so we drop two. Yes. Alright, good. Elapsed cycles, there was a spike of people who did it faster, but we did it with fewer symbols. Which is, honestly, when I remember playing this and, like, trying to actually, like, min-max these, what would often happen is, like, these would be inversely proportional. Like, in order to do something with the fewest elapsed cycles, you would use a ton of symbols, and vice versa. Alright, what now? We have two H's and two oxygens, and we need to change the bonds. So the oxygens start bonded, so that's good. So we need to break the hydrogens. Alright, I think I've got a plan. We take the hydrogens. We grab a hydrogen. So we've grabbed the left one. No. We want to grab the right one. It'll be easier for us. So we grab the one on the right. We come down. We want to leave one here. So we subtract bond here, which is going to automatically drop a hydrogen in this slot. And then we carry the other one through, drop it there. Sync. So now we have hydrogen here, and we can... But we don't want those there. See, this is a problem. This is... Because, like, if we put our oxygens here, and we just put this whole thing together, then if we plus bond it, then our oxygens are going to end up double bonded in the middle. And we don't want them double bonded. So I think we're going to cheat a little bit. And instead of finding a better solution, we're going to break the bond and then rebond them. I think that's what we're going to go for. Alright, so we're going to input. We're going to grab it. We're going to rotate it. And then we're going to bring it this way. We're going to bring it up. We're going to sync here. No, not in. We're going to sync here. And then we're going to bond and bond. And I think this one is the negative. So the funny thing about this is the blues and reds are not actually 100% in sync. One hits a few frames before them, so I might need to swap which is plus and which is minus. And then we drop it here, we output there. We're probably going to need another sync here. Yeah, so your bond plus, your bond minus. See? They are slightly offset from each other. Oh, I didn't even notice they start out double bonded, so I was going to have to minus bond anyway. Alright, I think we got it. Alright, on the shorter side of things. Way fewer symbols used than most, which is interesting to me. Ooh, new story. The planet was a wretched wasteland, but I was so absorbed in the work that I hardly noticed. Spacechem's reactor technology took what I had learned at university and transformed the principles of science to create new chemicals and compounds. I was enraptured by the process, which effectively amounted to alchemy. Joel had sent me a message requesting my presence in his office. I begrudgingly left my station and headed over to the east wing. When I entered, he was hunched over the terminal under the large window along the rear wall. "What can I do for you?" he asked over his shoulder as he typed. "You asked me to come up." "Right. Well, I see you're done with the research I gave you, so it's time to do some real design work. I must warn you, though not all of the reactors are fully functioning. Denopth was not a planet with violent weather or extreme temperatures, so I found the prevalence of malfunctioning equipment unusual. Joel felt the same way. Sometimes, when he came down to the lab, he spoke to Marianne, who could no better explain the problems and curse the equipment. "Marianne will take you where you need to go," he nodded to the corner. My eyes widened as I realized she had been in the room the entire time. She brushed past me without a glance, and I followed her into the hallway, keeping several paces behind. "We've been having a lot of problems. Despite this, we still need to get things done. I hope you understand that," she said. We stopped in front of a glass door when Marianne swiped a card. The door glided open. "You'll be working here, in the control room. Joel has a similar system outfitted in his office." The chamber was larger than Joel's office and contained several control stations in front of a window that opened to an expanse of the landscape. Marianne settled in a chair at the console closest to the window. "Which station should I use?" I asked. "The one over there," she pointed to the workstation closest to the door and furthest from her. I sat down at the terminal next to hers, booted the system, and pretended not to notice her huff of annoyance. Oh, we can save reactor designs. Cool. Okay, right. So we take methane, and we turn it into hydrogen and ethane. Okay, right. This is where we get assembly and disassembly reactors. So, step 1, disassembly. So we take input from here, and we break it into 2 pieces. Okay, so we're going to grab the carbon, I think. Right, so this is bond minus. And this is grab, drop, output W. We're going to move the starting point back. And this is also... No, stop. That is drop and output. Does that break? Ah. It breaks because I don't have pipes on the output. Understood. Let's see. Output note editor. Can I drag this? I cannot. Alright, so we have hydrogen, 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 carbon. Is that correct? Yes. And then this one is hydrogen there. I don't want to show these in pipeline. And then we have two assembly reactors. That's it. Hydrogen comes out the bottom. And whatever the other one is comes out the top. Alright. So this one, we have hydrogen. Let's do this the fast way, shall we? Alright, so we'll offset these by 1 like this. And then, alright. They're both gonna grab here. They're both gonna in here. Alright, so red's in front. It's going to grab this. It's going to come around. It's going to drop here. You're going to bond, then drop, then output. So the idea here is red is going to be in front. It's going to drop one over here. Then blue is going to come along. It's not going to run into it because it's going to bond first. Then it's going to drop the bonded one and put it out. The only thing that's going to mess this up is the fact that the inputs could be staggered. But I don't think that's going to be a problem because they're both waiting on the same input. Okay, so red. We're going to grab the carbon. We're going to take it over here. We're going to rotate it clockwise. No. Not you. Your other clockwise. We're going to drop it. Same sort of setup. Blue. Blue is also going to spawn one in. He's gonna grab it. He's gonna rotate it counterclockwise. He's going to drop. He's going to add the bond. And then output. I'm probably going to need a sync in here somewhere. Like, this isn't like hopes and prayers that this actually works and they don't run into each other. Grabbed the wrong place. Okay, it's functioning, but it's only functioning because the pipeline is so slow. Like, if there were another one waiting in the pipeline, that would have been able to spawn it in. But maybe my other pipeline for splitting it is working at the right rate that this is consuming them fast enough that it's not a problem. Okay. It looks like everything is in sync. It looks like we did it way faster than most. I wonder what the most common solutions are. We used way less symbols, too. And I'm betting that, again, the fewer symbols is that we didn't actually use a lot of sync blocks. We just kind of manually synchronized by making our loops the same duration and using the inputs to control our synchronization. Alright, so we have 4 total reactors. We have... Okay, we can... Methane split. Alright, meth split. CH4 split. Alright, disassembly reactor. Wait, where's our toolbox? Okay. Oh wait, does this even get me what I want? Because we have CA... So what do we have? We have N's, and we have CH, and we have H's. So actually we need a completely separate... Well, maybe not completely separate. Yeah, this requires a different split. So what we actually want for our outputs here is CH. And then we have H's here. Okay, so I'm going to do something dumb. So the plan is we're going to sit this here, and we're just going to spin it until we're done. So one of these is going to be the driver, and the other is going to be the actor. So we're going to start here. We're going to grab the C, which is here. Okay, so we want in, and we're going to bring it here. No, stop that. No, stop that. We're going to put a sink here, so it's just going to stand there. And then what this is going to do... Actually, we're going to put 2 sinks in. So when it hits the first... So blue is going to start at this sink. And it's going to wait until this gets here. And once it gets there, we're going to... Wait, no, rotate doesn't work that way. Darn it. Rotate rotates the one that you're on top of. Oh, my plan's spoiled. I was thinking for some reason I would be able to rotate the one that was on red. So I would have blue over here, and it would just say, rotate, break, output, rotate, break, output, rotate, break, output. So we could have this thing sitting here, and it's just like, breaks the bond, sends the hydrogen, rotate, breaks the bond, sends the hydrogen. How many bonds do I need to break here? I need to break 3, so I need to be a little bit more careful. Okay. Alright. How do we go about this? Now, I'm assuming that I want to dump the hydrogen in the same output slot each time. If we do away with that requirement, it gets way easier. Because what we do is... we bring this over here. We say... bond minus. We say... no, not you. We say output W. We say drop. No. We say drop here. We say out W. We say out that. My bad. And then we have an assembly reactor down here who's just taking those hydrogens. The factory must grow. Then we have a disassembly reactor here. It's going to put out nitrogen. An assembly reactor here. It's going to take nitrogen and the others and put stuff together. So this one is fairly easy, disassembly reactor. So we want to output nitrogens to the top pipe, okay? So very straightforward. We want input, grab, and this is bond minus, bond minus, bond minus, drop, and out. Switch these over to bond minuses. Yeah, there we go. So this is dropping nitrogens there and there. Is that correct? Yes. And we can make that a little easier. But like, boom, 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 drop, out, out. Which is, of course, going to make it more difficult for myself later because I have to take the input in that weird-ass format. Alright, so you need to... We grab this. We need a triple bond with the C and the N. So... we grab it, we come down here. You know, we can do this number if we want to. We'll grab it by the C. That works. And then this... we're just gonna be really cheap here and be like, yeah, we just grab whichever. Think, bond, 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 come back, and then you can drop and out. And then this sync should keep them in sync. And then did I do this one? I did not do this one. This is fairly straightforward though, right? Assuming the hydrogen always goes in the same place. It does not. Oh right, I didn't even do this one because my initial plan was foiled. Oh wait, I did do this one. It's just that it's different than it was before. And now it just is going to be randomly dropping different hydrogens. So, what are we doing? Let's see. In? No. Oh, yes, in. Grab. Pop that. Grab. Grab. Drop. And let's see if we can't do it the same sort of cheating route as before. So grab, Grab. Grab. In alpha. This works as long as we don't get enough hydrogens. If the hydrogens come in too fast, I think this breaks and we have to start adding sinks. But I think here we can bond plus, then we can drop, then we can output. Maybe? Okay. What happened here? Okay. It helps if we wait for an input here. Hold on, I thought I stopped that. Oh, this is incorrect. It's here, not here. Well, we'll make it correct. There we go. This is what's wrong with you. This is what happens when you get your stuff on. Bond plus, bond plus. Oh, you need to drop. Alright, so bond, bond. Alright. So we have a queue here where there's plenty of hydrogens coming in. There, yep. That's what did I say? This one was gonna not work if we had too many hydrogens. They'd get too in sync. They'd run into each other too much. So let's throw some random sinks in here and see what happens. Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay. That's not good enough. So what actually happens? Okay, so they're going through. Drop, drop, picked up, done. Okay. Red doesn't wait. Blue also doesn't wait. Ah, I see. The blue spawns the next one in, so this one grabbed it early. Okay. Alright. So, what we need is we need a red saying I'm done. Before blue goes. This might still not work. But it might. Oh, interesting. Then neither of them are waiting at the sink, because putting it in initially seems to have gotten them perfectly offset. To get past the initial section where it didn't have enough, they didn't have enough. But now that the ins are instant and not on a delay, they're at a good spot. Oh, hey, look. Our lap cycles are the standard. Challenge completed in 1,000 or fewer cycles. Well, we had 911. One of the 2 towers in 911. Also, not very many symbols used. So we've got that going for us, which is nice. Challenge in-place swap. What is this? Oh, I see. This is why it's a challenge for an in-place swap. What we have here is we have methane, so we've got a carbon and a bunch of hydrogens, and for output we want nitrogen and a bunch of hydrogens. So how would we do this? So we take a reactor. I feel like we're going to end up with... No, okay. So maybe we would split these, and then have a reactor that just takes in N, and just the N's and the methanes. I think we're gonna move forward with the plot. Alright. Marianne, get in here. Joel's voice was strained as it came over the intercom. Marianne sprinted out of the room without a reply. As her chair collided with another workstation, I followed down the hall into Joel's office. He was huddled over the computer, sweat staining his shirt. Marianne had taken over a control panel. Joel slammed his fist on the keyboard. Nothing ever works like it's supposed to. A disabled mining robot was activated. Marianne flipped a switch and swiveled a monitor into view. On the screen, a robot was shown, careening over the terrain. A map materialized on the monitor, showing the approaching robot as a red circle. It's headed toward the base. We have to stop it, Joel said. Is there any way we can redirect its course, I asked? Marianne's fingers sped over the terminal interface as she searched through the communications channels. We can't communicate with it. Joel placed a hand on her shoulder gently to stop her. She lowered her head and dropped her hands into her lap. What are we going to do then? I asked. Joel strode across the room and opened a locker beneath a fire extinguisher. Inside was a suit, reserved for emergencies. If that robot hits any part of this base, we're going to fry. A siren roared in the background as he stepped into the suit and sealed his helmet. He stepped into the doorway and turned back. There are some oxygen tanks on the perimeter. Use the methane extractor to fill them until they explode, timing it to destroy all the wheels on the passing side. Sir, that's going to destroy our reserves, Marianne said, her voice quivering. We won't be here to enjoy them, he said. If you need help, you're on your own. If we survive, well, we'll see after this. I glanced at Marianne in her red jumpsuit. She flashed in and out of my vision as the emergency lights flared. The door sealed behind Joel with a hiss. So he's like, I have an environmental suit. I am going to survive. You save the day or die trying. Alright, the next assignment is a defense assignment. Defend the control center or the planet will be lost. Storage tanks hold molecules until the next reactor can accept them. Storage tanks are only available in defense assignments. This storage tank is actually a makeshift weapon. Watch for instructions on how to use each defensive assignment's unique weapons. The EMF detector measures electromagnetic signals outside the control center. Watch the detector to gauge the progress of your defense operation. In defense assignments, the progress meter shows the structural integrity of your command center instead of the status of cargo traders. Press the reactor control button to make branch control instructions, redirect Waldos. Use these controls to respond to external events. Okay. Right, so we have methane. Oh. And all we need to do is take our reactor. Oh, take our reactor down here. I see. This is just about branching. Alright. So, start. In, grab. Out. Wait. Alright, so it's going to default to the near side, or if it's Control A, it'll bring it up here, and it'll drop there. And if this isn't fast enough, then we... something. Yeah. Actually, wait. I think I can only set one control at a time. So, let's say I want it to always go... We want to start by going here. Oh, I can't go above. Okay. No, not you. There we go. So now what will happen is, by default, it'll go over here. But if I hit Control A, it'll go in here. And then we come here. What's our output? Output is right there. And this one we don't care. So yeah. Yes, yes. Good. Yeah. Same sort of space. Wait, no, we want to look at the upper one. Right, the upper one is what's coming here now. So, H, 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 C. Right, and by default, we want it to go... Let's say we want to do the same thing. Default to the top. Control to the bottom. Save the toolbox. Redirect. Which by default goes up top. And if the control is flipped, it goes the other one. So we're just going to change this control to control B. Alright. So, as it stands, can I close this thing? Alright, so too fast. Alright, so we'll send the first couple this way. Turn off Control B. Oh, I didn't need to do that. Stop. Why did it not work at all? So, Control B sends them to the middle one. Control A sends them to the close one. And nothing sends it to the third one. Like, this seems like it's in line, right? Like, what's supposed to happen? Oh, it looks like there's an ad running on the Twitch side. So we're going to take our standard 3-minute break, and we'll get back and we'll see if we can finish this off when we get back. See you in 3 minutes. Excellent. We have returned. So, let's see. Just a refresher. Yes, Control B. Sends it here. But I think we want to blow it up so we keep going forward with none of the controls hit. Alright. We'll start loading up Control B. Control A. See, I don't want to hit this too early. We turn off Control A to restore the flow here. Oh, okay, that was good. Back to Control A for a bit. They don't want it to go off too early. Yeah, it's gonna go off too early. Alright, back to Control A. Let's overload this thing, blow up that first wheel, and call it good. Assignment complete. Spacechem confidential. Performance statistics unavailable. New story. Okay. The escape pod blasted off from the base. The debris on the surface of Danop disappeared in the porthole window as we flew. Our helmets hissed as we unhooked them from our suits. Joel, sweat running down his face, extended a gloved hand from across the shuttle. I accepted his handshake. Good work. Thanks to you, we made it out alive. Joel dropped my hand and wiped his forehead against his sleeve. My hand felt like it had been clamped in a door. Now what, sir? The base will be decommissioned. The crew has already been reassigned, and you've been promoted. Marianne pursed her lips, but said nothing. That was quick, I said. What caused the malfunction anyway? Software glitch. Joel shrugged his shoulders. His eyelids drooped as he gazed at the floor. There was something weird with the unit, though. What do you mean? Joel closed his eyes and leaned his head against the padded headrest. They opened up the controller unit and found a technician crammed inside. Dead, of course. My mouth fell open in horror as he shrugged. 1 moment later, Joel was snoring, fast asleep. So it seems like these people are quite jaded to the horrors of space. An introduction to sensing. Oh, that's right. We have logic now. We have logic gates that can move stuff around. Oh, there's like something in my eye. Okay. Sensors detect the element of the atom above them. The branch sense atom instruction redirects Waldo's when the atom over the sensor matches the instruction's trigger element. Change the trigger element using the change trigger element action in the instruction's right-click menu. Sensors allow reactors to process inputs that may contain different compounds. For example, this atmospheric pump produces oxygen and nitrogen molecules in a 3-to-1 ratio. Some production puzzles have unbalanced inputs and outputs. Direct excess raw materials into recyclers. Alright, so this is just your basic, hi, we're going to give you random stuff, and you need to put it in the right place. Nope, not in. Not out. In. Alright. So, change trigger element. Argon. Argon goes down. drop, out, you, drop, out, you, in, grab, sensor. So argon goes on the bottom, goes out. Argon again also goes on the bottom. Argon also. Neon. Okay. So you can see symbols used fairly low. And then we have this. I feel like I can get... I can do better than this. I don't need as many of these symbols. I don't know if this works. I don't know if this arrow will override the argon. Oh, oops. Okay. I think that is the minimum possible number of thingies. Symbols used, 12. Some people got lower. And it went faster than the others. But you can see over here, you can get way, way faster. And the reason, and the way that you do that is you do the exact same machine, but you also use blue. Like, we just also use the blue one to do it. But interesting that we can get lower things. Can I get one fewer? I don't think so, actually. Hmm. This is the trick. Is how do I get it back? Like, if it is argon, it needs to go down here. Like, that's easy enough. And if it's not argon, it needs to continue forward. But the trick is that when it bounces back up from here, I need a way to get it back there. And obviously, I could do like that sort of number, but that's not going to help me any. Like, the problem here is that argon is gonna go fine, except then that goes away. If I try to redirect this back that way, then it never gets over here. It's fine. Prelude to a migraine. Ooh, new story. Joel stood with his back to the door, gazing out the window into a plush meadow of green grass. Plants waved as a gust of wind blew across the hill. The door clamped behind me, nipping my heels, as I joined Joel in welcoming the blue sky and clouds. Can't believe I spent all that time on Danops. I almost forgot how nice the color green can be, he said. How's sensor training? Is everything working? No problems. Everything is working as it should. Joel stroked his beard and chuckled. After the ordeal with the mining robot last week, he was relieved to be on Alkanost. We all were. Marianne and I talked about the event in brief bits of conversation, never mentioning it around Joel. When Joel had sealed that helmet and stepped out the door, it was clear he wasn't merely improvising. I asked Marianne if that was included in her training. She gave me a withering glance, turned her back to me, and continued working. Joel winced, as if from the brightness of the light outside, and pinched the bridge of his nose. I need to sit down. He fell into the chair with a thump, dropping his head into his elbows on top of the desk. Are you feeling okay? I asked. Yeah, just getting a migraine. He fumbled with a drawer and rummaged around inside until I heard the rattling of pills. We'll talk later. Okay, so we can get oxygen, or we can get double oxygen. Oh, interesting. Alright, so we're going to put one there. We're going to input. We're going to grab. And then we're going to do this little sensor trick thingy. We're going to put our... Yeah, we'll put our branch here. No, not Waldo things. Change trigger element. Oxygen. So this will detect if it's a double, because it detects what's over top of the sensor, and we're grabbing the left one. So when we're here, if we see it's a double, then we come down here. And we... Let's see, we aren't grabbing the left. Bond minus... No. No. We drop... bond minus, bond minus. I was hoping that, like, I could drop it and then do a sensor thing, but that won't work, because wherever I drop it, I also need the bond splitters. So that won't work. Alright, in any case. Drop, drop, and out. Alright, so this will work. I don't know if it's the most efficient, but it does work. Alright. Lap cycles, fairly short. We're in this spike of few symbols used. Okay, what do we have? We have oxygen coming in. We need all double bonds for titanium dioxide up top and zinc oxide on the bottom. Oh boy. So I think we're going to need to do some syncing stuff here. So we know that we need to spawn one in, grab it, go to this sensor. And I think we want to sync on top of the sensor. Because I think what we need... Because there are two different things that we need to branch on. One, if it's titanium, we need to have the red bring us a second oxygen. And two, it needs to control which route it's on. So we can't actually do a sync on it. What we need to put a branch on it. Oh, so it looks like we're going to have another unplanned break. I think you seem to have eaten something that disagrees with me. We will be back shortly. Talk amongst yourselves. Figure out the puzzle. Alright, we're back. Hopefully for good this time. Now, I think I did get a moment to think about this. So I think we're going to put a sink here. And we're going to pair it up with the sink on the other side here. So what's going to happen is blue's going to wait for this sink. And on the red-hand side, I think what we're going to go for is something like this. And then, like, if it is blueware, and if it's if it's titanium, then we go down. Something like that. And then what we'll do is on the red hand side, well, we know we need to grab this. We know it needs to go down. We know we need to pull one in. So we're going to say, okay, we know that we need to drop off one oxygen always. In fact, no, we're gonna put this over here. We know we're always gonna drop one oxygen. And then what's gonna happen is we're gonna have a sink here. And then a decision thing here that for titanium, we want to go up and make a second pass. Drop that. And we're going to need a sink to make sure these are all ready as well. So right now what's going to happen is they're going to start, this is going to go grab one, it's going to drop it, it's going to come here, and it's going to wait. No, we're going to move. This is going to come here. This is going to be waiting at the sink. Red will have dropped off its first oxygen. It'll sink. Then they move forward. If it's titanium, then it moves around. And we need another sink here. So this needs to wait. So if it's titanium means we need more oxides. So if we need more oxides, then we have to wait until the next drop. And man, this is going to be so messy. If it's not titanium, like, either way, we need 2 bonds from the red after this sink. After it's ready. So, if it's titanium, then we need another one. So we need 2 bonds and We need 2 bonds and another sink. This is probably super inefficient. So now we wait for the oxygens to get put in place. We determine that it's titanium. Second oxygen gets put into place. We do double bond. We sink to release it. This goes forward while the oxygen to get delivered. Wait. This should be drop. Drop. Delete. Delete. We'll just drop both outputs on the same thing. Okay. What happened? Alright, so this part works fine. It goes forward. Oxygen comes over here. We drop off the first one. Oh, and now our stuff's all messed up. We'd need another sink. I feel like my approach is just straight up wrong here. So we want everything in place, then we want a double bond. We can't do it in like a box formation because we need both on either side. We might be able to do it this way. Maybe that'll make the pathing on red easier. Alright, so red. No. So we need something like this. But we need a way to control it more easily. This is a messy one. Or maybe it's simple and I'm just overthinking it and or underthinking it. We definitely need to use the sensor to determine if we go for the second path. So we definitely need that sync set up. It's like, alright, I've delivered the first oxygen. It is time to decide what to do. And then we need another set here for, alright, I'm about to grab an atom, go set up the first, I need to put the first oxygen. Okay, I need to do the first, I need to grab the atom. Okay, so we need a sync there, so that part's fine. And then this is, I have dropped off the first atom, please proceed to give us a decision point. And if it is titanium, then we go up. I'm having trouble figuring out where to put the if it's titanium, we go up. This needs a drop here. Alright. And either way, I think we want our 2 bonds here. Because at this point, we know everything is in place. We have 2 bonds. It's like, and then we have another sink for, okay, you're bonded, you're ready to go. Man, what a mess. Alright, so this is sync. Then we need our decision here. So, which way do we want to do this? Let's say titanium goes up. No, I think we do need to still have this up here. Probably. I feel like we're going to run into collisions here. I don't know, maybe not. We still want to trigger on titanium going down so that it can be brought up here. And dropped. And dropped. And outputted. And synced. So this is, so these syncs that should be in sync are I am ready to begin. Then this one should link up with this one, which is I have delivered the first oxygen. It is time to make a decision. And then and then this will move forward and be like, okay, the key element is in position. I am waiting for you to bond and release me, and then it will bond and release. Okay. Alright, so we are waiting for the first oxygen to be delivered. It syncs. We make our decision. We are now waiting for our second oxygen to be delivered. Second oxygen is delivered. It is now Red's responsibility to bond, and say, congratulations, you are bonded. And now it is time to begin again. I need a zinc to make sure the zinc routing works properly. Alright, so here we are in zinc. Same as before, we dropped our first oxygen. We hit our sync. Time for a decision. Alright, we have a problem. The zinc is a different shape, and it did not get the necessary bonds. Because it was too fast. But No, I can't do that. Oh, so close. So we hit this sink. It says no. Okay. Titanium is whatever. Titanium works. Titanium is whatever. Titanium works. Titanium still works. Give me the zinc. Okay, so this is as expected. First oxygen is in position. Oh, the bond is too early. We need some time after the, we need another block. There we go. Now after the sink, we have an extra space. And this shouldn't affect the titanium route because all the sinks keep everything lined up. Come on, you. Alright, so as before, oxygen is in place. We make our decision. There we go. And our outputs work. Think again. We're ready to make a decision. Okay, first oxygen is in place. Let's make our decision. Good. We're just going to bond it and go. We took longer. We didn't use as many symbols as most, which is odd. I thought that ours was overly complex, but it appears that that's just normal complexity for that puzzle. Alright, I went by Joel's office 3 days later with diagnostic reports loaded onto a tablet for review. Production was triple what it had been on Denop. We were at record production rates, rivaling even the most prolific sites in the region. In the system. I stepped through the door as it glided open, eyes focused on the data and graphs, when I heard a groan. Joel dropped his head against the desk, pulled at his hair, and ground his teeth. I could hear the gristle of the enamel. His jaw creaked. Joel? The tablet clattered against the floor. He grunted, lifted his head, opened one eye, and then thrust his head against the metal surface. I strode behind the desk. He cried again, thrashing his head, as blood trickled from his hairline. I pulled his arm around my neck and hoisted him up. We're going to the med bay. As I dragged him into the hall, it was clear he wasn't listening. Alright, what do we have? Alright, we have sometimes nitrogen, sometimes oxygen. We need to make nitrogen and oxygen. We've got way more oxygen than nitrogen, so... yeah. So we have a sensor reactor. So we need to find a way to get rid of a bunch of the nitrogen. So let's see, what ratio do we need? For every... we need to get rid of 2 nitrogen for every 2 out of every 3 nitrogen we receive. So we've got a lot of reactors. So... okay. Should I try to split the atoms here or not, is the question. So... let's just... we're gonna wing it for a bit. We're gonna input, we're going to pick it up, we're going to come here, we're going to sync. No, this approach won't work. Let's try to brute force it with a bunch of reactors and see what happens. So let's just go with a very, very dumb... no, we'll do it this way. This way, this way, this way. Change trigger element. Nitrogen. This nitrogen. It comes up here. And we're going to put nitrogen out that way. And we're going to have bond minus, then drop. In fact, we're going to make it easier for later on. We're going to do bond 2 minus. Where's my other bonds? Maybe not, because I want to be able to drop the bonds on oxygen as well. Okay, and this is going to output oxygen in the upper left, single bonded. So we're breaking a little bit of the bonds and we're sorting. So that's going to be good. And then we're going to have a get rid of a bunch of the nitrogen. Stop that. Then this is a nitrogen get rid of her. Where what we're going to do is we're going to take the nitrogen, we're going to grab it, we're going to come down here, we will have grabbed the left-hand one, so we want to rotate it clockwise, your other clockwise. You still have it double bonded. So this is going to be bond minus, drop, bond minus, drop, and then out build. So this is lower left-hand corner, nitrogen going out. And this is upper left-hand corner, nitrogen going out. And then, outside, stop that. Showing pipeline is just so in the way. And then one of these goes straight to here, and the other one we'll use elsewhere. The problem is, we still are going to have a problem in that we're only getting rid of half of the... Wait, no. I'm doing this backwards. We have less nitrogen than O2. So we need to send the oxygen to go away. So the bottom one is actually the one that needs to go here. And we move all of this up here. Oh, wait, no. This all still needs to be down here. Because the goal of this whole thing is that we're splitting it off so that one of them goes out here. And this is oxygen, not nitrogen. So we still are going to have, like, if we get 100 of these, then we're still going to have 25 nitrogen and 30-something oxygen, which is not what we want. We need a 1-to-1 mix. Which means either we needed to get more creative with this, or we brute force it. And how are we going to brute force it? We're going to store a bunch of it in pipes. This is what's called a buffer. Alright. Oh, this sucks that we get the extra nitrogens in. Boo. Boo, I say! Any way I can break these nitrogens up a little more? Actually, yes. Yeah, we can break the nitrogens up more. Because we don't... Yeah, we can just pass the oxygens in here with their double bond already. No, stop that. We don't care about the oxygens, but we can break the double bond easy. So for the nitrogen route, we can do this. And then our output is only nitrogen single bonded. Which should make it easier, maybe? It's still a pain. It'd be much easier if we could... can we get it the rest of the way? I guess we can. If we want to say just bond break, bond break, bond break a third time. And then what we end up with is, let's see, we grabbed the left-hand piece. So, boom, boom. Now we need to swap these. Otherwise they'll run into each other. We drop it, we break the bond. Do we not have any outputs? What happened to our outputs? Right, and now this output is nitrogens, singles, in these two slots. Which means when we come here, we're just getting single nitrogens. So this makes this very, very easy. We have simplified it greatly for ourselves. in that this is just... We move this here, input, grab, and we need double bonds. No, not out. Stop that. Boom, boom, boom. And here, we're going to grab the oxygen. We're going to spawn the oxygen, then grab the oxygen. We're going to come over here. We're going to bond plus. We're going to bond plus. We're going to drop it so we don't try to rip it apart. We're going to drop it. We're going to output it. And we're going to have to sync these because their inputs are going to be at different times. Alright. So this is, of course, on a delay because we made the pipe so long. Okay. We're both waiting on input. Still waiting on input. Did I mess up my, where the output is? I did. It's there. Okay, come on. You can do it. It syncs. Moving through the pipe right now. You're starting to see that we're not waiting as long. Even though, in theory, we should be, let's see, at a 3-to-2 ratio for the oxygen to the nitrogen. Like, yeah, we can see that we're starting to build up a little now. Fortunately, we made this super long pipe. So you can see that even though it's building up slowly enough that, like, if this were a shorter pipe, this would all just, like, get jammed up and we'd have a problem. But we only need to go up to 40, so we've taken a short-term solution. Now, what's fascinating here is you can apparently do this whole thing in a single reactor. Like, it's been done. Like, look at it. But you can see I use much fewer symbols. So apparently, if you do it in, like, one reactor, it's going to take a lot of symbols. Oh, new story. I kept Joel's latest email open for so long it was practically burned into the screen. Good morning, friend. Thanks for your kind assistance yesterday. I am feeling wonderful, much improved. Please come by my office when you have a moment. Sincerely yours, Joel. Joel was a tall man with a thick beard. I could imagine him cutting down trees to build his own cabin on the edge of a cliff. I could not imagine him writing cheerful emails to thank his subordinates, let alone with a smiley face. Perhaps the nurse had given him a powerful drug for the migraine. Okay, what do we have? We have another case of more oxygen than nitrogen. And then Gee, what is this? What are we doing? Okay, well, one notable thing, we have NaCl, also known as salt, also known as sodium chloride, and none of our required outputs want Cl. So we definitely want to send the chlorine elsewhere. So let's just start off with that. Actually, I'm trying to think what other combinations we need. So both of these need this NO3. Just one needs an H and one needs Na. And I'm not quite sure how to do that. Like, an obvious starting point would be we come up here. And we say, hey, by the way, we come up here. We say, give me input, let me grab it. No. We go this way. We subtract a bond. Subtract a bond. I'm trying to think of a way that I can make, like, single nitrogens and single oxygens all come out of here. But I don't think I have enough of the bonders to do it. So I'm trying to think of a way that I could break the bonds, leave one of them behind, and have the red go grab the one that was left behind. If I'd done the last one more efficiently, I could steal that one. But that's not what we want to do here. Maybe I'm thinking too much of like how to do it with one and then use the other as secondary instead of having them work in tandem, like in sync. Like, let's say, for example, we got rid of these. And what we did instead was we put one here. We put one here. And then we put a sink here. So that it would wait there until red did something. And then what red would do... And then red would just be like, break it all up. Very tricky, and I can't tell if I'm overthinking or underthinking it, which is the whole thing about this game. Is like, is there a simple solution, or is there like, no, it's a complex solution, you need to just figure it out? Like, So if we want to say... Alright, let's do it this way. Let's say... No. If it is nitrogen, then we go this way. Otherwise, we go up. And either way, we're going to put sinks here. And then... In fact, we're going to put extra sinks. So what's going to happen is red is going to be waiting for it to hit one of these sinks, for it to go forward. Then, when these go forward, red is going to say minus all the bonds. And then, after all the bonds are broken, it's going to say, alright, the bonds are broken. We're going to... no, delete. We're going to output. And then we're going to... Wait, no, we don't want that sync. We want to... No. We want to drop and then sync. Yeah? Because we don't need to carry them anywhere. They're already where they need to go. They just need to get dropped. And then we have another sync saying, package has been delivered. Okay, so let's see. This comes in, we load up, we come here, we wait. No, this will already be waiting. This will trigger red to go forward, so this drops, it moves forward, and now it's waiting for red to be done. Why is it waiting for red to be done? Red's fine. Okay, stop. That's why it's waiting for red to be done. Because the pipes might get clogged. So, we'll put a sink here, a sink there. And we'll change our outputs here. So the top is going to be oxygen. We have oxygen in these two slots. And then this one, we're going to have nitrogen in these two slots. No bonds, singles. Singles, not bonded. And then we'll hook that up directly to another reactor. Who's gonna be the... Oh, no, we'll need a buffer, because these are gonna come in a random order. So, we can't trust that the ordering will be convenient to us. Alright, so we need... What do we want out of this? We want 3 oxygens and a nitrogen. Yes, that's what we want? That's what we want, yes? No, 3 oxygen and a nitrogen. Of course, of course. So we want as our output... and a double bond here. We might compromise on that double bond thing, but that is what we want. Yes? Yes, okay. Okay, so we've done something similar to this in a prior mission, but I didn't save it, so it's harder to tell. Getting complex? Yeah. Yeah, it certainly is. The thing is, this time, unlike the last time that we had this, which was like, sometimes it needs 1, sometimes it needs 2. This time, it always needs 3. So, what we need to do is... Oh, it's extra complex because I don't know which way it's coming in, so I can't do my standard way of breaking it up. Oh, that does pose a problem. Huh. Yeah, without this being... Because, like, how I would normally do this... Like, if we knew that it would spawn here, then what you can do is... You have one go through this way, and then you can... Stop that. And then you can loop back around and come through this way. So you hit this part in 2 different branches. But the problem is, because my previous one gives me undetermined outputs, I can't do that. Stop that. Showing pipeline is awful. It's just so in the way I can't see anything. Is there anything better I can do here? I was thinking of maybe trying to make this come over here and, like, grab this, pick it up, and drop it there. Like, move this whole apparatus this way. And then... like, do, Oh, this is gonna be, like, kind of ridiculous and dumb, but, like, for example, we'd put this sync way later. We don't want the outputs yet. Like, we would output this way, yes. But then we, like... we come down here. We grab, drop, circle back, grab, drop, out again, and then sync. And what this would do is it would put all of the outputs here. That doesn't help me, though. Because I still can't do my crossing thing if it's in the corner like that. Can I? Let's see, if it's in the corner here. So, like, we can grab once. Now, we can't bounce like that. So if we move this back to where it was, and move these back to where they were, because I wanted them to be here, not here, then what we'd need to do is these can't be out yet. And this would need to do something like grab, because these will never be occupied at the same time. Then this way and up. But this would be out and out. And then drop, drop, out, out again. And this should... No, not you. This should change this to just do that number. Maybe. We'll see if it works. Alright, so this is going to wait for red to do cleanup. Oh, stop that. These are grabs only, not grab or drop. These are drop only. And it puts that out. No, that doesn't work. Because it puts this one down here, and I want this one to only go over there. The thing is, I can't grab this and, like, be moving to the right, because then they'll just run into each other. And I don't have a second sensor to do anything with. Unless we want to do some craziness. No, that doesn't work either. I was going to do some craziness with trying to move it in sync with blue to do some things simultaneously, but it doesn't work because I want it to work on both options at the same time, and the times are going to be offset by one movement block. Hmm. I was also just thinking that maybe we could have them like grab, drop, and then sync, and then have the blue one pick it up and like carry it over one more square. But that doesn't work because it would drop it here. It would sync on the next one, and then when the sync released, it wouldn't also be able to pick it up on that one. If I had more of these things, it would work too. I could use a whole bunch of extra instructions, maybe. Like, for example, if we did the old, we did like this number. The sync there. And then we have this over here. And give that a sync. And a decision. Then what we can do is, if it is... Alright, here we go. Nitrogen. If it's nitrogen, go down. Otherwise, go left. So if it's nitrogen, then, same as before. Obviously, same as before. Sorry, if it's oxygen. But if it's nitrogen, also the same as before. So, both ways, they still do the bond 3-. But now I have split paths, so I don't have to worry about that thing I did before. So, we synced, we made our decision, we hit this other sync, so we are waiting for the blue. Blue does its grab and drop thing, then blue starts waiting for us. Then these can do that thing I mentioned. Alright, so this is the nitrogen one. Nitrogen is on the bottom. So then we can do this number, where we do this, this. These are all drops, not grab. And these are both drops. These are both grabs. And then we can do the output in the sync again. So we are getting significantly more complex. Let's see if this does what I hope it does. All right, so we break it up. It's waiting for red to be done. My bad. Actually, because we know we're on the oxygen path here, we can actually put these specific outputs now. Oh, boo. Boo! I ruined myself again. Because I have them in the wrong spot now. Now the outputs are gonna be wrong. Yeah, because it's gonna do the outputs and they're gonna both go out. So... grab, output Y, drop, output both. Whereas this one... Because the thing we're trying to do is we want to grab this one, then hit output, then drop here. How can we do that? Like this way we can do it. We can't come down from the bottom, I don't think, because we're just gonna hit the, yeah, we're just gonna hit this. So it's essentially the same as coming in from the side. Man, this positioning thing is really getting me. Ooh, I wonder, can we do this way? Move all this stuff over. Maybe. The brain cells are working. Not at their best, but they are trying. So here we go. Yes, grab. Output top. Grab. Output bottom. Drop. Alright. Maybe? There's gotta be an easier way to do this. Alright. Grab. Output. Drop. Output again. Resync. This time we got our nitrogen. Let's see if it works for nitrogen properly. Drop it. Break all the bonds. Blue is waiting. We grab. We output. We drop. We output. Haha! Easy! That's a great thing about a puzzle game. Is that sometimes when the bigger a pain in the ass they are, the more satisfying it is when you finally convince it to do the thing. I've been fighting with you to do the thing for a long time. But we got it. And by we got it, I mean we haven't solved the puzzle. I mean we got one piece done. So we are finally to the point that we have our inputs in a way that we can use more easily. The problem is that might not be good enough. Oh wait, no, stop. Alright, so we want this structure. How do we get that structure? Well, we have O's coming in here. So there is that. So let's start off this way. We want to grab an O. And then we're going to bring it over here. And we're going to drop that O. Then we're going to come over here. We're going to grab again. And we're going to drop again. Alright, we need our inputs. So we spawn one in. We grab it. We drop it here. We spawn another one in. We grab it. We drop it here. We spawn another one in. We regret our life choices that led us to this moment. And we say, alright, release the Kraken. Because now all of our oxygens are in place, and we can finally grab a nitrogen. Alright, so we are the Kraken that has been released. We input B, it's going to spawn here. We grab it. We move it here. We hit bond. This bonds all of them. We need a second bond on the one on the right. Actually, it can be on either side. It doesn't matter. Does it matter? I'm going to say it doesn't. We're going to go right. We're going to hit bond again. You might think, but we don't want to double bond all this stuff. That's fine. When we move it here, it'll be N, oxygen, oxygen, oxygen. Only these two will be on bonders. So we're fine. So we have the nitrogen. We're going to bring it up here. We're going to drop it. We're going to come back around. What are the odds that this works, like, first try? Because I don't think they're very good. We're waiting on a third oxygen. Okay, we need another sink. It doesn't need to be over here. We can put this sink here, which is just like, alright, you can start populating our oxygens again. I'm clear. Come on. Oh, it might help if we actually put an output here. We dropped it, but we didn't put an output. Oh. It also helps if we gave this an output. And, you know, I guess we should get around to this one, too. Oh, I haven't even solved this other problem. Okay, I think I got it. So, this one is going to go to one of these two. Like, this is going to be our final output one. Because it's going to take this big piece with the nitrogen and oxygens, and then it's going to just attach one of the whatever else to it. So this is going to take the big piece from this pipe and the whatever else from this pipe, which means the responsibility of this one is to send either a hydrogen or a sodium. So this output up top should be either a hydrogen or a sodium. And we can figure out what the exact position is. And the output and the bottom output, stop that. Jesus, pipeline. And the other one gets to go there, to the recycler. So I think the plan here is we want a hydrogen or a sodium. Yes? Yes, okay. So we want to grab it here. And then what we're going to do is we're going to put together this to break bonds. We're going to break the bond here. You know what? We're going to move this over. We're going to break the bond here. So we're going to leave a piece behind. In this case, because we're grabbing it by this piece, it'll leave the hydrogen if this one, or the sodium if this one. Then we're going to come down here. We're going to drop the remainder. Oh. There we go. Oh, come on now. So we grab it, we drop the bond, we output the top, we drop the trash, we output the bottom. Well, that was easy. And then this comes up here. So sometimes you get hydrogen, sometimes you get sodium. And hopefully we can overfill these, because they're not going to come in even numbers. So if I have to get exactly 20 of each, we're going to have a problem. But hopefully we can go like, 30, 20. It'll be fine. It'll accept it. Let's just make sure that our output here is as expected. We drop it there. It does... Yes, that is in the right position. Okay. So. Oh, wait. Is that correct? I need to go back here. I think the bonds might be on the wrong side. Which doesn't really bother me as far as... it's not a big problem, but it just does affect how we lay out the next one. Oh yeah, the bond is on the left-hand side. Or the double bond is on the left-hand side. Because the spare piece needs to bond to the right-hand side. Alright, so what do we have? I think I'm going to do the bonding... It gets bonded the same place either way, so I don't think I care about that piece. So what we're going to do here is we're going to come here, we're going to grab it, we're going to go this way. We're going to sync. This one, it's going to spawn here. So we're going to grab it, we're going to sync. We're going to be like, alright, no, input, input. We're gonna sync. It's like, okay, here we are. We are in parallel. No, we don't want to be in parallel. Because this grabbed the N. We want the blue to be one offset to the right, so it'll be under the O. Alright, so here we are. We are now in sync. They shall move over. We will bond them. You will drop it. You will be done. Good job. Wait for next round. Maybe. Maybe it's easier to do it the other way. Because this guy is the one who holds the key. So instead, you will drop it. You will make a sensor determination that if it is hydrogen, we go up. And we're holding it by the hydrogen. We drop it. We output it. We output the top one. We come down, we come back. If it is not hydrogen, then we do this number. Then we drop this. We output the bottom. Oh, and this needs to come back around. But will the... I already have a sync here. So they need to be in sync. It's like, we are ready to grab things. We are both ready to grab things? Okay. Then we both grab things. Then we have another sync. Alright, we have both grabbed things. This is to take into account the fact that they might not both have something in the pipe at the same time. Alright. So we've got a lot of waiting happening. So this is the complex piece. Well, that's the complex build piece. This is the building the complex molecules. Alright, so he grabbed a piece. This is not outputting anything I care about. Why is it not outputting anything I care about? You know what makes these things work better? If you actually put an input so that they grab things. Oh, that's one success. That's two successes. We took way more elapsed cycles than most. But we did complete it. It only took us a long time. Alright, defense. No need for introductions. Okay. Ooh, more story. Excellent. I hesitated to press the taupe intercom outside of his office. There was a muffled voice speaking inside the room, but it did not sound like Joel. As I withdrew my hand, the door opened, as if on command. The room was lit only by the sun blazing in through the window. All I could see was Joel, with his silhouette. Come into the light and let me show you the truth. The words echoed in my ear, though. Somehow I knew they were unspoken. As Joel splayed his arms, a wave of pain blasted through my head. I clutched my ears as my heart heaved. The pain transformed into a rasping voice. Behold the healing power of the stars. Joel lurched out of the light. His face had disappeared, replaced by an expanse of tight, puckers where his eyes and mouth had been. Oh, no, he has butthole face. The terrible butthole face that spreads through the stars. The skin was raw and pink. Yes, I know. His beard had been stripped from his jaw and replaced by a shiny strip of scar tissue. His ears began to twitch. Together we can know the truth. Together. Agony warped my thoughts as white lights flashed behind my eyes. I crushed my hands against my head and banged my knees as I staggered to the floor. Joel's crumpled face was seared in my mind. A hand grasped my shoulder and shoved me onto the ground. Through the ringing, I heard the cock of a revolver, a gunshot, and the sound of something wet slumping against the floor. Ah, yes. The only cure for butthole face is a wet, slumping cock. The ringing stopped as I regained my sight. I opened my eyes to see Joel's body in a heap. A leather shoe towed Joe's faceless body, turning the blank face to the floor. I looked up. There was a man in a charcoal suit holding an antique revolver with silver embossing. He paid no attention to me as I grunted and pulled myself up. I suggest you get ready, he said, as he pocketed his gun. I blinked. For what? I'm headed to the particle accelerator lab. He stepped over Joel's corpse and stopped in the doorway. Aim for the eye. The door closed as he sprinted through the hallway. I brushed myself off, turning around, and jumped at the sight of the giant, hovering pyramid outside. It stared back at me with its gargantuan eye. So this would be the cover art. If you're not familiar with the cover art, let's see if we can't pull it up here. Maybe we can't pull it up here. So, yeah. Oh, well, we can probably do it. Where is that? Do I still have it open? Yeah, it's oh. There it is. Yeah, that's the cover art. Pyramid with the eye. Like Pyramid Head, but different. Alright, what do we have? So, we have heavy water and normal water. We have HOU, HUU. Fires a particle beam when properly powered, H2O2, and supplied with heavy particles, U. Typically used for scientific research, the high-energy particle stream emitted by accelerators can deliver a devastating quantity of energy. And hydrogen peroxide increases the power of the particle accelerator. Okay. Huh. How do we want to approach this? We have storage tanks now, which acts as a large pipe, so that's interesting. I wonder if I need that. How many reactors can we use? 4. Okay. Oh, wait. It took me so long on that last puzzle. I don't know if I have time for this one tonight. But what's our general approach? So, if we use our sensor reactor, do we have a way to just get rid of stuff here? Like, I don't see a... Like, I was gonna say, I don't see a way to toss to, like, a recycling bin, which is a problem. Like, my first reaction would be to split off the top pairing, because that'll give me either HO or UO. And then... like... and then we have a second reactor that takes those pairs and shoves the HO that takes those pairs and... what would I want as the second input? Like, I'm pretty sure I can make one that takes just H and O and turns that into hydrogen peroxide. So if I have 4 reactors, one to split these to get, like, so one output is going to be HOs and UOs. The other option would be, like, split all the uranium out in the first one, and then just send all the various hydrogens and oxygens somewhere else and let somewhere else figure it out. In any case, we are out of time for the evening, so it is midnight and we have work in the morning. So that is all of the Spacechem that we're going to be doing tonight. The first part went very slowly, and then we got to the more complex puzzles, and the time just flew by as we fought to do wild and crazy things. Mostly this one. Wait, no, not that one. Yeah, this one. Like this nonsense. Took me forever to figure this out. So, like, what do we take? We take 2 different kinds of things with different levels of bonds, and then we split them in difference according to the number of bonds they have. Send some up top, some up bottom, and importantly for the later processing, all of them go in the same slot in the output. It was fairly trivial to get it to just split them and say, well, these 2 are O's and these 2 are N's. But then that messed up the ability to do this. And this is a very reasonable thing to be doing. Obviously. This is just super fine, like no problems. But yeah, that was Spacechem. Spacechem is a little tricky at times, a little frustrating at times, but it feels really good to actually solve these things. So let's take a quick look at what we have planned for the rest of the week. Now, we did have a little bit of carryover yesterday, in that we did a game from 2010 yesterday that we hadn't gotten to. That was Amnesia: The Dark Descent. That went well. And next on the docket this week, we will probably be doing our Dungeons & Dragons Online Day, because we have not done that yet this week. And the other option, we have a couple options available to us. We can either do like Portal 2, but we are only going to get like halfway through Portal 2, and like the second half is the more fun half with Cave Johnson. There's also Bastion, which is a lot of fun, or Warhammer 40k Space Marine. So that's a variety of options. I'm leaning towards Space Marine for our second game of 2011, but we will figure it out when the time comes. So, standard sign-off things. If you're here, thank you for being here. Thank you for chatting, for lurking, just for being around, and there's a lot of places you can be on the internet, and I appreciate you spending your time here with me this evening. If you would like to spend more time with streams, if something coming up has been interesting to you, then, hit the buttons, like, comment, subscribe, follow, notifications, whatever other buttons there are. You know what the buttons do. If you want them to do the thing that they do, then you do the thing, then hit the button that makes it do the thing. If not, I still appreciate you being here. So, that will be all for us tonight. Thank you very much. I appreciate you.